Hey guys, I'm Karlyn Borysenko. Welcome to Decode the Left. This is a live stream that I do over on my Substack, which is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. You can also find it as a podcast on Apple and Spotify, and maybe I upload it to Twitter and YouTube and places like that if I feel like it. But I wanted to pop on and do a quick update. Of course, we just finished coverage of the Socialism Conference this past weekend, which was 29 hours of socialism in a 2.5 day period. And I got to tell you guys, my brain is a little spent. I've decided to take it easy for a couple days. I'm not going to be doing socialism analysis on the stream today. We're going to be watching something else that's more light. And I hope you guys will forgive me for taking a little bit of a break. But streaming like 28 hours of socialism within a 2.5 day period, it depleted me. I'm broken. My brain has broken, and I just need a minute to recover, and that's just the way it goes. I'm integrating a ton of information, and I'm sure you guys maybe could all use a break as well. There were actually some people that watched almost the entire stream with me, so congratulations if you were one of the intrepid warriors that made it 24+ hours into the Socialism 2025 conference with me, because that's like I've run marathons. It was worse than running a marathon. It takes longer than running a marathon too. Running a marathon only took me about 4.5, 5 hours, something like that. This took 28 hours of watching socialism on the internet. So maybe an ultra marathon. That's what we did. We did a 100-miler. Anyway, I wanted to pop on to do a quick stream to let you guys know where my head is at for content for the rest of the year. Just to give you some sense of what you can expect from me. And, it's been really great in the past several months because I've really been experimenting with doing different types of content. For a long time on my Substack, I just did written breakdowns of the far left. And while I do think I've got a pretty good archive of information, there's always more stuff I want to write about the far left, but I've got a plan for that. What I find is actually the most helpful for people, or the things that I've gotten the best feedback on, are things like the live streams that we're doing right now on Substack, the things like the shorter videos and the clips and things like that either I'm recording a one-off video like I just did earlier, talking about how the number one thing Trump can do to push back against the left is to abolish the unions, or I'm doing clips from my streams or things like that. That actually seems to be the content that most people are responding to and most people seem to appreciate the most. And so I'm thinking of doubling down basically on this style of communication on the Substack. That's not to say that I'll never do written things. I did a written breakdown earlier today of the documents that the Antifa killers that attacked the ICE facility yesterday in Texas. I did a breakdown this morning on the Substack of the documents those guys are reading. And so that'll still be part of like the counter-revolutionary book club piece of the Substack, where we are going and looking at far left documents and manifestos and communiques and things like that. So we'll still do stuff like that, but I'm going to be saving my breakdowns of the far left, I think, for something else. And that something else is going to be, I am turning my attention back to working on my books. Now, for those of you who maybe, if you've just found my content in the past couple months, you might not know that I already wrote 4 books this year. It has been very high on my agenda. I want to be the most prolific anti-communist author on the internet. I've already released 4 books this year. And I have 4 more that I want to write and to get out by the end of the year. And I think it is an achievable goal. But man, did I need a effing break. I needed a break. It's not that I haven't been doing stuff for the books. I have been here and there, but it's just like sometimes when you grind really, really hard to get something done, sometimes you need to take a step back. It's why we're taking a step back from the socialism content for a couple of days. I was grinding really hard and hustling to get that content done, and now I need a break. Okay. So I wrote 4 books at the beginning of the year. I wrote A Brief History of Racism. I wrote Debunking the Communist Manifesto. I wrote 2 actually dystopian fictions. I wrote The Communist Manifesto, A Revolutionary Fairy Tale. I wrote Alice in Queerland. I've been working on a bunch of other stuff though, and I really want to get those books done. And the number one book that I want to get done is actually a book that it was supposed to be the first book published, and then it got usurped by other things. But there are enough new people who have found my work that I'm going to be revisiting a project called Re-Education, the Ultimate Anti-Communist Guide to Decoding the Left, which is a book that is supposed to be kind of like an introduction to my work and an introduction to understanding the far left in the way that I understand them, based on the massive amount of leftist content that I've consumed and going undercover with them and infiltrating their stuff. So the re-education book is number one on the list of priorities to get done. I also am writing 2 books that are related to queer Marxism, which is one book is specifically about the writings of the Mary Nardini gang. That was supposed to come out earlier this year, and I couldn't do it because, and it's gonna turn out better, honestly. So first of all, the Mary Nardini gang is much harder to research than I thought they were gonna be. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 is actually not a problem. It's that I've actually learned so much more about all of the associated incidents around the Mary Nardini gang. And if you don't know who the Mary Nardini gang is yet, don't worry, you will. I've learned so much more about it that I actually want to go back and redo elements of the book in a different way. But the Mary Nardini gang, I think, is a really important book I want to write. It's called Be Gay, Do Crime: The True Story of the Mary Nardini gang, which were they were insurrectionary, like, queer militants in the Midwest in the mid 2000s that wrote some documents that are hugely influential on the far left today. And so it breaks down those documents. It talks about other things they did and things like that. I want to add in more information about bashback and that sort of thing into it, which is part of the research I've been doing. So that's book number 2. Book number 3 is an overview of queer Marxism and the development of queer ideology. And this is going to go back probably to the 60s, but certainly starting by the 70s and talking about the development of queer ideology since the 70s all the way up through today and how that evolved and things like that. That's book number 3. Book number 4 is called The Socialist Dictionary, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a literal dictionary, okay? It's a dictionary of all the socialist terms. It's putting those terms in context, explaining them, breaking down what they mean, stuff like that. So those are the 4 books I want to get done by the end of the year. Now, I actually do have a way that you guys can follow along if you want to follow the books that I'm writing in real time. So check this out. This is another Substack that I have. It's called the Red Menace Collective. It is, my janky camera wants to get out of the way. Da da da. redmenacecollective.substack.com. And the Red Menace Collective is an allusion to my publishing company, which is called Red Menace Press. And so the Red Menace Collective is basically the VIP component of the publishing company, where you can sign up on this Substack, and this is separate than my main Substack. It's like a bonus Substack. It's like a VIP thing where you can actually get access to drafts of my books before they're written. So I post drafts, I get your feedback. So this, for example, is so I told you I'm writing the Socialist Dictionary. I actually have a whole list of all of the words and all the categories, so you can see here. And this one, I think I'm logged in, so you guys are getting a little preview. You're not even supposed to see this. This is like a logged in thing, but I'm logged into the Substack right now, so you can see it. If you were not a member on the Substack, you wouldn't be able to see that, so you just got a little preview there. But members will be able to say, here are all the words that are going into the Socialist Dictionary, broken down by category, so you can see and you can provide feedback and stuff like that. I do this with all of the books that I'm writing, where I published Alice in Queerland as a short story on Red Menace Collective before it ever actually became a real book. I published the Communist Manifesto, Revolutionary Fairy Tale, my earlier drafts there. You can read the early drafts of the Be Gay, Do Crime Mary Nardini gang story. You can see earlier drafts of the Debunking the Communist Manifesto. Members can actually download the finished books. So if you're a member on the Substack, you can actually download PDFs of all of the finished books. You get a free digital copy. And this is all exclusively, again, to members on the Red Menace Collective, which is redmenacecollective.substack.com. So that's going to be a place where I'm going to be producing a lot of content. That's not to say that some of that content won't occasionally make it over to my main Substack. Sometimes they do. I post like freebies or I post member previews over there. But the Red Menace Collective is really meant to be more of like a VIP thing for my publishing company, which is just focused on getting my books out there as quickly as I can write them, so I don't have to go through traditional publishing and all of that. So that is going to be another very big part of what I've been doing, or what I will be doing for the rest of the year. Let me just scroll through the chat real quick. Reagan says the short videos on your phone seem to go over well with people. Yeah, I've actually been really surprised at how much the short videos have actually gone over well with people, which has been a nice surprise. Honestly, the shorter videos on the phone are so much easier for me to do because it's basically like I have an idea and I just do it. And I just talk to it until I pull out my phone and I go, da, 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 here's what it is. And it's like super easy content for me to do. I don't have to overly produce it. And those seem to be getting the best response. So if you guys like seeing videos of me talking into my phone, fine. I will give you videos of me talking into my phone. I don't really care. Can you maybe talk about Dumba and or Queer Eruption at some point? I'm not sure I know what Dumba is, but Queer Eruption we can definitely talk about. Flanders said, I just started reading Alice in Queerland. I hope you enjoy it. I had a ton of fun writing Alice in Queerland. I would love to do more books like that. I loved my two favorite books. I like the Communist Manifesto, Revolutionary Fairy Tale is still my favorite thing that I've ever written, ever. Someone pointed out to me, actually, someone pointed out to me on the Red Menace Collective, they pointed out to me of like the only flaw that people have been able to identify in the timeline, which was just a naming thing. So I guess if that's the worst mistake I made in the whole book is I named one character one thing and then changed the character just slightly later in the book because I forgot that I originally wrote a different thing. If that's the worst mistake I made in that book, then that's pretty successful. It was the first fiction book I ever wrote. So that was really fun. Alice in Queerland was a ton of fun to write. If you guys appreciate the books, please make sure you leave a review on Amazon. The reviews really, really, really do help. And so I would appreciate that. But the books are going to be a big part of what I'm doing moving forward. Also, spy streams. There's so many organizing calls that it's really actually very difficult to keep up with. So people are really appreciating the spy streams. They're really appreciating the inside look into organizing calls. Some spy streams are going to be public, available to everyone. Some spy streams are going to be members only, and that's just the way it goes because ultimately my priority has to be on what is going to be best to actually record this training. And it's not that like I would love to be able to broadcast every single call we infiltrate on the internet. It's just not possible though because it ends up with causing problems. People cancel the calls. I get copyright strikes. I get stuff like this and that. And so it's just better to do them as supporter only. And it's a nice little perk for people who are supporting my work, which of course I really appreciate. That of course is for supporters on my main Substack, which is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. Don't get my Substacks confused. So those are the big things that I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year. Obviously, we're going to continue to do our Monday through Friday live streams with the cult. We're still going to do Socialism Saturdays. The cult is really going to be whatever I feel like streaming on any given day. I'm going to be honest. It might not always be socialism stuff because sometimes I just need to take a break. All right. I produce a lot of socialism content and sometimes I need to take a break from that. Of course, I will still continue to do these live streams kind of impromptu over on the Substack. And that's kind of where I want my energy to focus. So I'm really excited about trying to get these books out by the end of the year. I think that these books are necessary, and I think they provide. There's a need for it in the market to fill a knowledge gap. Oh, the other thing I'm going to be doing. See, it just keeps. See, this is the problem. The list just keeps getting longer. This is the fucking problem. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be returning to doing live classes and things, live educational opportunities where people can join me on a webinar and really get the far left breakdown as more of like a lesson or an introduction. We're going to be doing one of those coming up. You can find out more information about it on the Substack. It's called again Reeducation. It's an anti-communist introduction to the far left, and you can sign up for that for free. You can find the link over on the Substack or over on decodetheleft.com. So I am going to be doing that. And actually, the biggest thing, I cannot even believe I didn't talk about this yet. The biggest thing that I'm going to be doing between now and the end of the year is launching the Center for Left-Wing Studies. And this is probably, I think, one of the most important projects. The Center for Left-Wing Studies is my nonprofit. So Decode the Left and Red Menace Press and all the publishing and journalism I do, that's all part of a for-profit company called Red Menace Media, okay? And I have to keep it for-profit because for-profit means mine and privatized and federal government hands off, because when you do a nonprofit, and people have suggested over the years that I do a nonprofit, it was never that I was not on board because I would love people to have a way to make tax deductible gifts to what I'm doing, but it's just like, I don't want to give the government control over everything I do. And that's what you have to do when you have a nonprofit. But what I am willing to do is to separate out some of my research projects that, quite frankly, are really hard to make money from anyway, but that I think are really, really important for people to understand. And so I started a couple months ago the Center for Left-Wing Studies. I already do have a fiscal sponsor. there was a holdup with the state of New Hampshire for about a month because the state of New Hampshire refused to approve my application to operate as an entity, but now that's done. So I have the business, I have the organizational entity, I have the fiscal sponsor, which means I can currently accept tax-deductible donations for the Center for Left-Wing Studies. And what I want to do as part of the Center for Left-Wing Studies is I want to build out the Queer Marxism Project. I want to build out a zine archive. And I want to build out a way to track all these gender and queer studies programs all over the country. So the Center for Left-Wing Studies, phase one, is an archival project. It's an archival project to take all of this literature and all of this propaganda and put it in one place so the public can access it so that we can all use it for research. That's what this is. It's a research and archival project that is available to everyone. That's phase one. Phase two is once we have that stuff set up, I want to start building out like actual research groups, like reaching out. Hopefully, I want to find other people who want to study the far left on an academic level. I want to hold like research symposiums to talk about different aspects of the far left so that it's not just my opinion. You know, people say to me all the time, one of the criticisms that I get is that like I don't like anyone else's opinion. Well, for the most part, most people are wrong about the far left and they don't follow the evidence. They don't actually research. But when people are actually looking at the evidence and having thoughtful conversation about it, I find that to be incredibly valuable. And there are people out there who want to do this. And so what I want to do is I want to get together some of these people that I know and have met and have experience in the field and have experience infiltrating leftist events and have experience reading this stuff and understand what it all means. I want to get those people together and talk about this problem in a really strategic and pragmatic way. So that's phase two for the Center for Left-Wing Studies. And so I have other ideas to go along with that as well. But that is probably one of the biggest projects I'll be doing before the end of the year. So all I have to do is maintain my daily live stream schedule, do spy stream infiltrations, write 4 more books before the end of the year, and launch a nonprofit, and that's it. And that's it. That's it. That's all. That's all I have to do. That's all I have to do. And while I'm doing that, Trump is going to cover up the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and they're going to be fighting anti-Semitism, and we're going to start a war with Iran, and it's going to be awesome. But I can't control any of that. I can only control what I do, right? Excuse me. Let me see. What is in the chat? Yeah, it's a lot of work. We'll get there eventually. Michael says, do you think at some point you can make a map of the different levels of the right like you did the left? No. No, I will not be analyzing the right. Someone else can do that job. I am not going to be analyzing the right. There's way too much to do on the far left, no offense, but I am not going to be studying the dissident right or the conservative right. I don't actually even think it's that interesting, to be honest. I know a lot of people on the dissident. If you want to understand the right, just get involved with the dissident right and just actually learn about them. It's really not that hard. Listen to Nick Fuentes. If you want to know what the dissident right thinks, listen to Nick Fuentes. Listen to Nick's show, see how the Groypers interact in the chat, see what they like. Just go look at it yourself. You don't need me to interpret that for you. Will you be considering Andy No for this center? I really appreciate Andy No. I have some intellectual disagreements with him, certainly none that couldn't be overcome, I think. But I don't think it's a matter of whether or not I would consider Andy No for the center. I think it's a matter of if Andy No wants to publicly associate with me. And so would I talk to Andy No any day of the week? Yeah, of course I would. I really respect him. He does really good work. Most of the time he's not right on everything. But would Andy No work with me in a way that's public? I don't think he would. Because I think that he has people who pay his salary. He has people who pay him. He has people who are over the websites that he writes for. And many of those people are Zionists, and he knows where his bread is buttered, and he knows what topics he can and can't talk about, and I like to run my mouth about how much I don't like Israel, and how much I don't like how much money the USA gives Israel, and how much I don't want to be at war in the Middle East, and how much I'm bothered by the whole things, and so I will certainly extend him an invitation when I'm ready to do so, which won't be for a while yet, to be honest. There's a lot to do before we even get to that, but I wouldn't expect him to take it. I'm not counting on that. I'm gonna look elsewhere, and that's no shade on him. That's no offense to him. But you know what? I don't need him because there are other people that do this too, and we'll find those people. Yeah, Andy shares my work. He's not unsupportive. He knows exactly who I am. I think he agrees with me on a lot more than he disagrees with me on. I think he respects what I do. I think he doesn't want to be publicly connected with what I do, and that's fine. That's his choice. All right, I have to go get ready for the 5 p.m. stream, guys. We're just going to take an easy stream today. We're actually just going to be watching a Twitter space last night. It has nothing to do with the far left. It has to do actually with the dissident right. It has to do with my friend Adam Green, who likes to debate with people about whether or not Jesus was a Jewish myth, which I just think is an intellectually and philosophically interesting discussion to have. And it was a really good space. And Adam debated with a rabbi. And so he got a rabbi to talk to him about what he believes. And then Adam got to offer his perspective. So that's what we're going to be watching at 5. And we're just going to take a light day. I promise I will get back to socialism coverage this week, but I needed a break. And I bet some of you did too. So I appreciate you allowing me to take a break. I will see you guys on the stream, and I will see you guys next time on the Substack. Lady in the chat says people are scared shitless of you. You're correct all the time, and it's scary. Yeah, truer words have never been spoken. Truer words have never been spoken. That's okay. They all know it. I know it too. It's fine. I'm just doing my thing over here on the internet, and I'm fine with sticking to my side of things. And they can steal my work and pretend that they never heard of me. That's fine. We all know where they got it from. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I have. If you want to support my work, head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. And I will see you guys on the stream at 5, or I'll see you for the next time I live stream over on the Substack. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.